Welcome back to Guns and Gems. I am here to talk about the basics again. I talked the other episode about choosing your caliber, but once I've done that, how do I pick my ammo? There are so many different brands, types, grain weights, materials, etc. And I am not the uber expert on this, so I did a bunch of research for you guys to really make this episode the highest quality that I could. So, along with the gear that I'm going to be promoting for this episode, I am also listing the sources that I chose to look at so that you can explore more and look at them too. I think that's really important to do and, do more research into it. So, visit those websites once you're done here, and I am ready, I am more than happy to hype and promote other people in this industry on my podcast and give them the credit for the work that they put forwards. So, first thing that I'm going to talk about is center fire versus rim fire. You're going to hear this. This refers to where the primer is located within the casing. So for center fired bullets, it's in the center. This is the center of the casing. You'll see it in the back when you flip it over. This is the most reliable style of bullet. Rim fire, on the other hand, so center fire is like your 9mm, your 45, usually your larger pistol calibers, and common pistol calibers used for defense you'll see as center fire. Rim fire, the primer is actually packed around the rim of the casing, and then that is struck to create the ignition. So it's like a wet primer that is then hand kind of put into the rim of the casing. So you hear a lot of the times rim fire is less reliable. So what does that mean? And it took me a while to track this down, and it has really unclear answers because I feel like people online kind of stop at rimfire is reliable, unreliable, center fire is reliable. So my conclusion to the unreliability, some people were saying that if they rotated the bullet in the mag and shot it again, the bullet would fire, meaning that the way that it's coated, it either shifts or didn't get coated in that section of the rim. Which obviously it will not fire if the primer is not struck. So I'm not sure if this is the legit science behind it, and I'm going to be talking to people who are more professionals in this area and understand it a lot better than I do. But from my conclusion, it kind of felt like the possible shifting that could occur makes rimfire a little bit less reliable. So materials. Let's talk about different materials for bullets, casings, etc. So the cartridge casing is first. This is the outside cup that holds the primer, powder, and bullet. The material of this can be very different. So when you see ranges talk about no steel ammo or no aluminum ammo, this is what they're talking about, unless they're saying something about the bullet itself. I really appreciated the articles by Pew Pew Tactical and Wideners to help me narrow in on the pluses and minuses of each option. For brass, this is your most common. It's reloadable, so that is why a lot of ranges require brass casing so that they can send it off and sell it, basically. It is a mixture of copper and zinc and creates a very strong but malleable material. You want this flexibility during the course of shooting. When the firing pin hits the primer, it lights the powder, which in turn sends the bullet downrange. Ideally, the casing will actually expand to fill the chamber, and with no other direction for the pressure to escape, it will go forwards. Brass does this really well and is a good option for higher pressure loads for this reason. It also tends to be a better option on the internals of your gun, which is why it's probably the most trusted option out of the four that I will be talking about today. Steel. So this is a cost-effective option, and unlike brass, it does not expand well to seal the chamber up. This results in carbon going everywhere, and you will hear about people talking about, oh, this ammo runs dirty. That's why, because it's not creating the seal, and so things are just getting everywhere. If you choose to use steel ammo in your guns, I would figure out a good cleaning regime and just do that. And then probably I would also take it in to a certified gunsmith and have them deep clean it if I am choosing to use that steel ammo. Some guns do better with steel than others, but in general, just the material of steel, because it's not as flexible, could create carbon issues on any platform. Also, because it is not as malleable as brass, you can't reshape it back into the original form, so there's no reloading with this one. If you're having problems with your firearm and you're using steel ammo, clean the gun and change the ammo. I work at a store where people come in with, oh, this isn't working, or this is jamming, or this is unreliable. Ammo and ammo materials is one of the first questions that we ask for this reason. Aluminum. So this may be your most cost-effective option, and it's a one-time use casing. You cannot find this in rifle ammo because it cannot handle the higher pressures. The issue with aluminum may be that because the melting point of it is lower than brass, you will actually have too much movement of the case, resulting in overexpansion, and you'll have a failure to feed. Thankfully, this actually is not the worst malfunction that you can have in your gun, and it's probably best that you know how to fix malfunctions because they happen, and know how to fix them, know how to take care of them. But in really bad situations, I would rather take out variables and use a more reliable casing material than one that has a reputation of malfunctioning. And then the last one that I'm going to talk about is nickel-plated steel. This is a newer bullet casing type and takes a cheaper steel and coats it in zinc to allow for better feeding. It may still have the same pressure issues that steel has, but it is also non-corrosive, and so that's a huge plus. I know multiple brands that have just come out who they're doing the plated steel, so that's kind of cool. I think that you can find other ammunition that is X-plated X, whatever the combination is. Do your research on it, talk to people, see how reliable it is, and hear their experiences about it. Does it jam? Does it feed well? Are they having a lot of malfunctions? Are they still running clean? Ask those questions about the ammo that, isn't your brass. I think that's really important. So, bullet material, David Lewis from Ammunition to Go has a really good article about different bullet materials. Most likely you'll find lead or brass ball ammo. Unless you have a specific task in mind, this matters less. I would read his article though if you really want to get into it and learn a lot more. Primer material. Primer is impact sensitive, meaning that when the firing pin hits it, it creates heat and ignites the powder. It's a mix of chemicals. In a more advanced episode, I'm going to cover primer styles and stuff like that when it comes to reloading. I actually know of someone who has done some reloading, and I'm going to try and bring him on to talk about all the little nitty-gritty that you can get into. But again, for this episode, it's going to be the, high-level overview of ammunition. And then the last material that I'm going to talk about is the powder material. The NRA has a really good article about powders, and if you're into reloading and bullet science, it's a great read. I didn't want to get into the powder granules and pluses and minuses of different ones. I think it's too advanced for this because many times you probably won't be buying the specific bullet due to the way that the powder is, and so I'm wanting to create this episode for someone who wants to be able to buy ammo off the shelf. I'm going to probably have one for people who want to do reloading, but this is not that episode for the time being. All to say, pistols usually have a composite of two chemicals, nitrocellulose, found in most ammunition, and nitroglycerin that makes it burn faster. You'll find that combination, it's like this double base combination. A slower burn is actually better for longer barrels, and obviously that is not pistols. I'm really going to work hard on the one where we get into powders and stuff to just make that super informative, but for now, let's keep it basic. All right, so grain weights. I'm going to mainly be talking about 9mm because so many people use it that I feel like it's fairly standardized in the United States, and because this one is geared towards beginners and many beginners will choose 9mm, it just makes sense for me to do it that way. I will actually not be covering subsonic ammo today. I'll have another episode or other episodes, plural, definitely multiple of them, about suppressing and subsonic ammo and everything like that. For now, I want to keep it simple and again, more towards the beginner, gun owner, and self-defense basics. Grain weight. So, you'll see 115, 124, and 147, also 135. You'll see all those grain weights for self-defense ammo. You'll find practice ammo in more likely in 115 and 124. You'll find some in 147, but it is less common. 115 tends to be the cheapest because it's less material. And then you can find a good amount of ammo for both practice and 124, which is kind of nice because you can practice with the same feel that your defense rounds will have, so that's kind of cool. So, should I choose a high grain weight or a low grain weight? This is I was doing so much Googling about this. It is so confusing because you hear people say, well, heavier bullets have more recoil, and then you'll read, no, heavier bullets have less felt recoil. So I think when it comes to this episode, and I'm going to bring someone on that has more experience in this area than I do, don't make the grain weight be the determining factor. Look at other things before you look at grain weight. Or go and shoot some stuff. Go shoot 115, 124, and 147 and see which one you think feels the best. If I were trying to shop between 147, between one brand and a really nice brand, and it was only, 135 or 124, I'd probably choose the better brand. I wouldn't be like, well, I have to do 147 because I heard it has a little bit more stopping power, but I don't know, or a bigger bullet that might do more damage, So that's just kind of my philosophy on it. We have people that say 147 shoots a little bit different. I personally haven't seen too much of that to a point where I would go out of my way to buy 147. So usually I would stick with 124 or 135. So that's just my 2 cents. Probably a controversial way to go about it. I don't know, but I would practice it. I would practice with different ones, see which one works best for you. A lot of it comes down to you, the shooter, and how comfortable you are with any of them. When you have an optic and you're zeroing in the optic, the grain weight really does matter. Because of the way that the projectile flies and over distances, heavier, you'll see more drop than lighter, obviously. So the weight of the bullet that you zero the red dot with does matter when you go to shoot defensive rounds. So that's kind of why I tend to suggest the middle option, because I can find a lot of defensive rounds in both 124. I think that there are some in 115 also. I think Hornady makes one. We'll talk about it later, but it might be a little bit harder to find ball ammo in 147. I haven't seen it up here yet, and it's obviously not going to be as cheap as 115 and 124. So, types of bullets. Hollow point. This is the ammo style is used for your self-defense purposes because it is designed to kind of not separate, but almost like bloom like a flower. If you look up a picture of hollow point, you'll see how it kind of expands. It has the main reason is so you don't over penetrate, you don't punch through your target and hit something behind it. I think it also creates a larger wound. So this is the safe way for you to carry. I think it's really irresponsible to carry ball ammo because you risk your backstop and what is behind the target that you want to hit. So hollow points are they've really worked a lot on the technology of hollow points. So I feel very comfortable shooting them and have no problem with them at all. Ball ammo, you're going to hear this called full metal jacket, range ammo, ball ammo, practice ammo. What else have I heard? Yeah, this is your range ammo. This is the cheaper option of the two, and this one's usually the one sold in bulk. So you practice with your ball ammo. When you're done at the range, load up with your hollow points and go. So, and then of course, frangibles. Frangibles is an interesting one. It's designed to disintegrate within the target, and it's actually kind of cool. I would watch videos, like Google a video of frangible ammo. It literally will hit the target and just explode into dust and small pieces. So for close quarters, this can make a lot of sense because of the lack of power that it will have. It lowers the risk of punching through walls. The site that I saw, the NRA site, actually kind of brought up, you know, there's a program for pilots to be able to carry weapons on planes. This would actually kind of be the ammo for that because you don't want it punching through the side of the plane, but you want it to be able to hit your target well enough. So the downside of this is that sometimes it will underpenetrate your target. It may be less effective than your hollow point ammo. So there are definitely places and spaces that frangible really shine in. But for your normal shooter, I would stay with a full metal jacket for the range and hollow points for self-defense situation. Should you go plus P or not? You see ammo marketed as being plus P, so what does that mean? It means that you have extra pressure in the ammo. You will feel a bit more recoil, obviously, with higher pressure, but is it needed? It's kind of a debated thing online. I think it's fairly easily decided by the type of ammo based on brands. You can also think about the spaces in which you are shooting and for the application. For close spaces, you may not want plus P for risk of over penetration. If your house is super small, maybe not. But maybe if I'm thinking of larger spaces and I have a barrier that I might want to penetrate through and hit the target behind it, then plus P may be the best option. It's really about places and spaces and what you feel comfortable with. For example, Hornady's defense line for close combat has no extra pressure. It's standard pressure. Their duty tactical line has extra pressure. It also, and I think that it will come down to this, it will depend on how comfortable you are shooting plus P ammo. It will have a bit more of felt recoil, so are you able to get back on target fast? That would be a huge question to ask yourself. I would probably buy a box of each and shoot them and look at my groupings. How natural is it for me and how easy is it for me to get back in target? So let's talk about some brands. I think for the beginner shooter, it really comes down to brands. So personally, I like these two. They're kind of top of the line as far as defense ammo goes. So Federal Ammo, I really like their law enforcement line. They are very well regarded within the ammo industry. The three common options that I have seen available are 124 grain, 124 plus P, and 147. The one with the highest muzzle velocity is the 124 plus P option. So, and it actually has the highest muzzle energy too. So it is 1200 for the muzzle velocity and 396 feet per pound for the energy. These numbers may seem very abstract at first, but when you start comparing them, different options, you can get an idea of what the ballistics for each different brand and grain weight are going to be. The nice thing about these ones also is that they come in boxes of 50. At least the law enforcement ones do. So I think that they also have other really good brands, like the ones with the Hydra Shock that have a rod in the center. They have punch ones. So they make a very good lineup of defensive ammo. Hornady's the other brand that I really like. I believe that in 2018, I think so, Hornady Critical Duty, their 135 grain plus P ammunition won the FBI contract. If that means anything to you guys, they make high quality defense ammunition in two lines. Critical defense that is geared towards concealed carry, and critical duty that's geared towards full-size firearms and tactical law enforcement applications. Both of them have this really cool technology with their patented rubber tip called FTX or FXT. The rubber tip fills in the cup that the self-defense ammo has and helps with aerodynamics, better feeding, and better penetration through clothing. So it's actually kind of cool. I really like this brand. The Critical Defense brand. This ammo is developed for shorter barreled guns to help people feel less recoil. It has a grain weight of 115. It is designed around the idea that many people concealed carrying will have closer combat situations than your law enforcement officer or tactical situation. It's not meant to punch through barriers. I would definitely use this in my carry gun, a shorter barreled carry gun. Critical Duty, on the other hand, is available in three options: 124, 135, and 135 plus P. The highest muzzle velocity and energy is found in the 124 grain option, I think, although I need to check that and make sure. It is meant for full-size, longer barrels like your Glock 17. It's not really meant for small concealed weapons. It has a heavier exterior to the bullet to help with barrier penetration. This bullet holds up to FBI standards, and the 135 plus P is the one that they have chosen. So, range ammo brands, this will be your practice ammo, and it'll be a lot cheaper than your self-defense rounds. The two criteria that I use for these, or maybe three, let's make it three, is it's reloadable, meaning I can use it at a range, or I can reload it myself if I so choose to. It's cheap, and it doesn't gunk up my gun or damage it. So, realistically, it doesn't matter that much for practicing at the range. Some people are very brand specific. That's great. I kind of have just bought whatever's cheapest, so it's not something that I put too much thought into like my self-defense rounds. I can clear a malfunction low stress at the range, and that's fine. I really want to be picky though about my self-defense ammo. Blazer Brass, this is probably one of my go-to brands. They're a part of CCI, and they're actually located in the Pacific Northwest. So I like supporting my local brands. There's also, they were also one of the brands that came back in bulk cases first after COVID supply chain went down, and then Russia took out a lot of the ammo sources. So I like that one. Federal is also another really good one. They run very clean. S&B or Cellier and Bellet is an extremely old company. I think that they're one of the oldest companies out there, ammo companies out there. They are based in the Czech Republic, and I've heard really good things about them. It's clean running and reliable. I've used both their 115 and 124 for target practice. The boxes are also smaller than some other boxes, so I think that they make like the plastic divider more compact, and it just fits better in my ammo can. So that's kind of a nice thing. I think there's obviously other brands that do that, but they're like a nice compact box. So kind of cool. But if you want to support American made ammo, CCI, Blazer, Federal, those brands will be good. Common Q&A, kind of just like things that I want to talk about that don't really have a section within ammo itself, but you'll hear people talking about mixing your carry ammo. What does this mean? It means that some people will say, I am going to switch or rotate every single one and be like, hollow point, full metal jacket, hollow point, full metal jacket, up the magazine. I think the mindset behind it is that they want to be able to punch through body armor or getting through barriers. I don't think that this is responsible in this day and age. I think one, because hollow point technology has gotten good enough, like with the critical duty, I would trust that one if you have a lot of concern, because it's developed a little bit for punching through those barriers. I think that I would just worry about over penetrating my target and seriously hurting someone behind it. And so being responsible, I want to be able to hit my target and not anything else that I don't want to hit. If you have a concern about this, there are two kind of options. Yeah, I think there's multiple options that you can do. I think you can pick a different ammunition or really get into ammunition science where you're able to make an ammunition that you feel comfortable with. The second one is practicing something called a Mozambique drill. This is where 2 shots go to the center mass and 1 to the head area of your target. It's a really good learning tool because it helps you with recoil management, so I like to do that one to keep myself like a little on target, like have to hit 3 right in a row. So how much ammo per gun? At minimum, I like 1,000 rounds per gun. This is usually going to be your full metal jacket ball ammo. I keep some of it obviously in hollow points for if I carry it. But the thousands rounds is kind of my, if you will, apocalypse stash. So I don't think of terms of carry ammo for this. If I shoot at a range or outside, I'm replacing it to keep my store up. Ammo stores very well if kept in a dry area. So worrying about cycling through it and like you would your food stores should not be an issue at all. But hey, go out and shoot it, have fun, practice, you shouldn't have any problem going through your ammo. Third question is, should I store my mags loaded? And I went to a video by Brownells because of this. A video by them suggests that you can keep your mags loaded and not be concerned about wearing out the springs. When you read through articles about whether or not compression of springs leads to them wearing out faster, the conclusion was yes, kind of, but it was such a small amount that it would not affect the performance. If it brings more peace of mind, having magazine springs on hand is always a way to combat the concern and keep your mags loaded and ready to go. So, that's the end of today's episode. I hope that was informative and helpful. If you have any questions, you can actually go to my Anchor FM website. There's a place where you can submit voice messages, and if you have any questions, please submit a message. I am more than happy to listen and talk with my listeners. That would mean so much to me. So please reach out. And then next is going to be the gear corner. And then little housekeeping note, I don't want to have a bunch of ads in the episode. As an avid podcast listener, I don't really like a bunch of ads in them. And so I'm trying to keep them as ad-free as possible, meaning that because I am an Amazon affiliate, I'm going to be doing something called Gear Corner, where I'm talking about things that I like that I found on Amazon, linking them in the description. More than likely, I will try to keep this at the end of the episode. I may talk about them throughout the episode. I have one on schedule that's like the Christmas episode. So obviously that's basically gonna be an ad for a lot of the items. So yeah, I just wanted to say I'm trying to keep ads out of this as much as I can, but I also want to have the show supported. So kind of having to balance these two things as gracefully as I can. But thank you for listening, and Gear Corner is next. All right, the first item in the Gear Corner is the Decibels custom molded percussive shooting filters. These ones are very nice because they fit to you. You can mold them and you can remold them, which is really nice. They have protection up to 33, and you have a lot of these like earmuffs and shooting protection that kind of make everything just sound low. Well, this one allows quieter sounds to get through, and then the percussive noises of gunshots to be then suppressed. So that's kind of cool because you have awareness of what's around you, and you're not just kind of in your own little world of, I don't know what's happening. So the second item is a lockable, stackable ammo can. Get yourself some of these. I have one for every caliber that I own, and then I'm able to fill that up. They're nice because they transport well to the range. They are stackable, so my organization is better. Get yourself some, and then I also, along with the ones that I have for my ammo, I have extra pieces in it. My cleaning kit is in it, extra mags, so it's kind of my way that I organize all my gun stuff. So I would get a few of those, and both of them, I am an affiliate with Amazon, so both of these are promoted by me, so just want to disclose that. But both of these are really good products that I've used, and I really like both of them.